हेलो एवरीवन। अगर आपके करियर का सवाल है, डोंट वरी, वी विल एड्रेस इट। टुडे वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट ओनर्स प्रोजेक्ट इंजीनियर्स। नाउ one of the very popular question about owners engineer is, what do they do? In the past, I had several discussions with my friends on this topic, and I am sure I can't say here what exactly they feel about owners engineers. If you want, you are free to share your honest take on the topic, and don't worry, we will not judge you for that. So, keeping these aside, let's discuss some key aspects. Now, how this discussion will help you. If you are already in owner's company, you will be able to realize the bigger picture from owner's perspective, explain to your friends and probably to my friends also your importance, and focus on some crucial aspects. If you are in an EPC company, understanding owner's mindset will help you to focus on real project drivers and add value accordingly. On the other hand, if you are looking for a job on the owner side, you will know what will be the key expectations and prepare suitably. Alright, so let's go into the core topic now. Very briefly, who are owner companies? Owner companies are those companies who own the production facilities and the assets. They will fund and get their projects executed, and also once the project gets completed, they will manage operations and maintenance. Now, if we talk about their capital projects team, just like any other EPC company, even owners will have a project team that has positions like project engineer. They will have positions like project controls, planning engineer, cost estimation, almost all engineering disciplines, construction, quality and HSE teams as well. And like EPC companies, they need very similar skill set as any other project team, but with a different focus area, that is mainly around supervision and governance. So what are the key differences? Let's understand this considering three key aspects. Okay, first is what will be the build, what will be built, and what is the purpose. Okay, so the owners engineers, they need to clearly define the scope of work, the specifications and all the requirements that will be typically be in the contract document, and also what will be the outcome of the project. So just few examples to make this clear. Whether the project is a revenue generating project, in that case they will focus on project economics like NPVs and other factors. If it is a safety improvement project, they will ensure that the project objective is met. In case it is a reliability improvement project, so what will be the method to achieve it, what will be the strategy. Once all these are taken care, they will also look into what will be the life cycle impact of the project. So once the what is finalized, second is how will the project be built. And when we talk about how, we mostly it will be focusing around the planning. So the owners engineers planning that starts for the project much earlier than the EPC phase, right? They do a stage gate planning. Okay, so they need to know, the approval processes. They need to plan for the timing between the stages. What will be the contracting strategy. How will be the contracts executed, and sometimes also about the compensation basis. It's not just the how we will doing it, how we will be paying to the contractors, right? And when we talk about the paying, how it will be the project funded, whether it's fully a capex project, whether it's partly capex, partly opex, like a combination of these two. So they need to plan for those things, and very importantly about the cash flow, when they are spending the money and what will be the spend profile. Now before we go to the third point, you may have noticed a lot of points which we discussed earlier about what and how. These are common even for the EPC engineers, right? If you are in an EPC company, or if you are working along with an EPC company, you will feel that even some of these points are done by the EPC engineers, right? So the key difference here is compared, especially compared to the EPC engineers or the EPC roles, that is the owner's engineer has to focus also on why. Why are we building this? What is the key reason to do this project? So often, and this is what I have seen, based on my experience also, a lot of owner engineers also miss on this aspect, but this is very crucial. because when you start thinking of why, it will raise several questions that will ultimately link and also drive the what of the project and also the how of the project, which we discussed earlier. So again, let's take some very simple examples to understand this better. If the key reason for the project is, say, value creation, the company or the organization will focus on the obviously the cost of the project and economics. If reliability is the main driver, you need to decide on how will be the execution. Maybe it will involve a lot of brownfield modifications, right? That will impact your contracting and execution strategy. So you need to be clear on these aspects. Suppose if it is a cost reduction, that too during the production. So the project is already built. Now the next phase is to reduce the overall production cost. Obviously you need to select the process scheme, the equipments that lower the production cost. If the project is being done for some regulatory compliance, it may become a schedule driven. You may need to complete a project on a certain date, even though if it is costing more, to complete it on a certain planned date. So you need to plan accordingly, or the project can even be just to have a strategic fit. So obviously if you are aware of the key driver, you know what approach matters most and then decide accordingly, right? So these were the key focus area we just discussed. That was the what of the project, how you are going to do the project, and most importantly why you are doing this project, right? And also we wanted to bring this clarity, the level of involvement, when we are deciding, the owner companies are deciding what, how and why. The level of involvement may differ for companies who do most of their work through, say, subcontractors or contractors, and for those companies that do self-managed work. But overall, it's not much different. All right. Now, when we were discussing about the how of the project, we briefly talked about stage gate process. Now, this is a must know for anyone who is in the owner's project team. So this is where the real project management comes into picture, because if you think of in more details, you may be developing project sometimes with very limited level of information, right? You may need to engage the right stakeholder at the right time. This ranges from the leadership team within the project organization, but also cross-functional teams like operations, finance, and maybe many other subgroups. You need to address the regulatory and the governance requirement. So whatever permits, approvals requirements are there as per the different stages. So you should be aware about those things, and you should be planning well in advance, because these things may take a lot of time, and sometimes it also impacts the project approvals. Decision making, this is a very crucial aspect, because moving forward with a good project is okay, everyone wants that, but stopping the wrong project at the right time, it is much more important. You don't want to spend your company's time and effort and also money into something which you feel after some time you may need to cancel it, right? And in case you have seen the cost influence curve, this explains why the concept stage is one of the most crucial stage for any project, especially from the owner's point of view. Because whatever you decide during the concept stage, it will be further developed and it will impact the entire project lifecycle, right? So you have to be very sure, you have to be very particular about the concept stage, which will then move into the feed and the execution stages. Now, to summarize, if you are on the owner side, or if you want to move into the owner side, this is what the company is expecting from you, right? First of all, decision making, obviously, adapting and reassessing as required between different stages, and then making a decision to get the required outcome. Selecting the right concept, like I already mentioned, bringing the efficient options, both technically and also from the project execution point of view. Engaging the right stakeholders, so communication skills, this is something which is very important when you are managing such work processes and also the different stakeholders. And you should also be able to create clarity about the governance procedures, right? There will be a lot of different procedures to be followed between different stages, different scenarios. So you need to be very clear about those procedures. All right. So that's what we wanted to share today about the roles and responsibilities of owners engineers. Let us know if you have any queries about such organizations, and you are also welcome to share your experience about what you feel about on the owner side. Now, if you are looking to understand something more about some of the topics which I mentioned today during the discussion. Like if you remember, we talked about various project drivers, the why of doing any project, stage gate process, very important, economic analysis for project engineers, or even the cost influence curve which we referred briefly. So we have already shared some useful articles on these topics. These are on LinkedIn as well as on my technical blog. So whenever you get some time, just go through it. If you have any questions, if you have queries, if you have any feedbacks, please drop your comments in the relevant platforms. All right, so it was great talking to you all, and see you again soon with another Career Ka Sawal Hai session. Thank you.